A father from Indiana was accused of murder and assault after he shot at a mob of 30 people that were attacking his son for snitching at a Kentucky State University campus on December 9th. His son's dorm was burglarized after a group of criminals pulled the fire alarm and used fire extinguishers to disable the dormitory's security cameras. The 18-year-old had reported the crime to campus police, which occurred in early to mid-October. Jacob Bard, the 18-year-old's father, argued through his attorney, Jonathan Banks, that his son immediately began getting threats of physical violence and death threats. His attorney also mentioned that one of the students that had made those threats had a firearm seized on campus and yet still bragged that he carried the weapon. According to the attorney, on December 6th, about 15 to 20 people, many of which were students with masks over their face, broke into the 18-year-old's dorm and violently assaulted him and 3 other students that were with him. The 4 were, quote, thrown into the ground and stomped and punched repeatedly, with hundreds of school property, including a school laptop, being destroyed. 2 days later, Jacob's son said 20 to 30 people gathered outside of his dorm room door with baseball bats and other weapons. The 18-year-old called the police, and when officers approached, the mob left. He then called his father, who immediately drove to campus and arrived around midnight. The attorney said that he found his son and his friends had not eaten a single meal in several days because they were afraid to leave their dorm rooms, and he took them to eat. The following morning, the parents went to meet with campus police to address their concerns. However, after meeting with them and having a conversation with the university dean, the Bards, quote, became convinced that the university would not be able to maintain a safe environment for their son, and informed the university that they were moving him home due to extreme safety concerns. A campus police officer went with the family to the 18-year-old's dorm room and found 4 people waiting outside. The officer ordered them to leave, but one of the individuals began taking pictures of the family, and more people that had participated in prior attacks began arriving. Again, a lot of them wearing ski masks. As the mob started to form, Jacob grabbed his wife's gun. When the campus officer and the family reached the entrance of the building, the mob rushed out of the dormitory, past them, and began violently assaulting Jacob and his family. Jacob's son was slammed into the concrete, and several people were on top of him, beating his head against the pavement with feet and fists. The officer was not helping at all. According to the attorney, in all of this chaos, Jacob, quote, tried to physically pull the individuals off his son, but he was still hit and could not get the people off. Seeing him in imminent danger of death and serious physical injury, Jacob then drew the firearm and shot 2 individuals who were actively and viciously beating his son. Law and Crime reported that 2 people were struck by bullets. One of them, 19-year-old Dejon Fox, died, while the other was taken to an area hospital in critical condition, but later listed as stable. After firing the gun, Bard, quote, immediately dropped the weapon when his son was then able to escape the violence, end quote, though not before being kicked in the face. Banks said. The attorney maintained that his client's actions were absolutely justified under the law and were the only measure that prevented his son's death or serious injury. Jacob's attorneys argued that the university was to blame, saying that by them not acting on the previous attacks, quote, those failures resulted in the tragic death of 1 student and of the injury of many others, and further pointed out that criminal charges have not been pursued against the other students and other people that were involved in the mob attack of that day. On Tuesday, December 23rd, a Franklin County grand jury declined to press charges or indict 48-year-old Jacob Bard.